Let's do it.
And live.
Yo.
Uh,
So much for I like how you said this. I think two times ago you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna do an intro, and then two times later it's like you got an actual intro
100%.
now.
I've realized from the years that I taught, people need something that kind of like helps the brain go from like one thing to another, and you're like, okay, now I can. It's like chapters in a book. Like, all right, I finished that chapter. Ready to go with the next chapter.
100%. Need those transitions, those guiding kind of beacons of like, oh, we're here now.
Yep.
100%. It's
Absolutely.
gonna be fun, man. I'm excited for this.
I appreciate you making the time.
As always.
Okay. I'm going to give everyone a few minutes.
Yeah, let me see if I can. I'm gonna share this out real quick. Make sure everyone knows, because if I'm seeing I got only a few people rolling up, so people start rolling here soon. But let me share this out. Oh.
All right. This isn't okay. No one can see. All right. Dun, 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 dun.
So we just, why don't we just get right into it? Because everyone can watch the replay. We got a few people rolling in.
There we go. All right. I need. Okay. Well, let me get rid. I was just resending that out as well. Okay.
Sweet.
All right. Thank you all to everyone who's waiting. Thank you and watching. Appreciate you making the time. We were getting things set up and just making sure more eyeballs that could see. Hang on once. My son has decided to join the stream. Hey, bud.
Oh, it's always fun. Yep. I hope everyone is having a great day. We're getting to some fun stuff today. Wednesday, Wag Me Wednesday, if you're watching it from the Taurus or Cryptographics channel. And yeah, this is going to be great. Going to have a lot of stuff to say about Taurus. Going to have a lot of stuff to say about ETH, where we are in the cycle. I know K-Flow's got like 14 tabs waiting to rip through all sorts of deep dive rabbit hole stuff. I'm not sure if we're going to get into the tinfoil hat stuff, but you never know with that many amount of tabs.
Hang on. I'm sure we can find some deep, dark, obscure websites that we just have to. I'm sure there's got to be like a conspiracytheorist.com website set up somewhere. I have not looked, but I'm sure there's something.
There is. Oh, I'm sure there's like 40 of them.
There's got to
have to be. There's probably tinfoilhat.com or something like that. I don't know.
You know what?
I don't know where that's going to lead us, but.
Oh, no. There actually is tinfoil hat web design. Okay, I got it. This is hilarious. All right, I'm going to bring this up just because we've talked about it, and then we'll go on to what tinfoil hat.
What a start.
Specializes in web design for small businesses, individuals, and nonprofits.
Oh my God. That's awesome. What the heck?
Oh my gosh, I love it. Quality coding, since what we're about.
Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Pricing? We're happy to come. $60 an hour. I wonder when this website still going on. Anyway, man, $15 a year for DNS. I think it's web hosting, program, advanced coding. Wow.
This guy's lucky day. He's getting like how many free advertising now?
Yeah, he really is. And I'm looking at these examples of websites, and these are like, that just makes me think of tent campgrounds or anything that I've stayed at. It's like, and it's individually owned. That's just the websites that make me think of. Anyway, all right. We're here for data. We're here. over the past couple days, I was thinking about, all right, what is going on? I was feeling myself getting a little bogged down with the noise and get a little trapped by the noise. And so, like, all right, peeling myself back into what's actually going on, inflows, outflows, because I can easily just sit and look at a chart and just think and just get depressed. Like we all know. You just look at a chart and you go, why no? Why aren't you going up? Why isn't this happening? Why isn't that happening? Like, come on, ETH, you're sideways and you've been sideways for almost 2 months now. Like, come on. So came over, I found Artemis Analytics, plug for them. And I was just looking up so some of the stats that they have, and I was just focusing on Ethereum because that's after Bitcoin, the big number 2 player in the world. And I found it fascinating. And I'm going to try, I need flows. Here we go. I'm going to look up in the past 3 months, total inflow for ETH, just shy of 19.3 billion. Outflow, 12.9 billion. But this is the 3 months. The past 3 months, it's been the only, say, L1, and even that even includes L2s, that has a delta inflow in the past 3 months of just over $6 billion.
By a huge margin, by almost like 15 or 20x, somewhere in there.
Yeah. And to me, that's, let's see, from, okay, Polygon, okay, not looking at Bitcoin. Okay, Sonics, they just ended season 1. They've got season 2. But just looking at, now let's look at year to date, January 1st till now.
Let's be curious. Still net inflow.
7.7.5 billion inflow. Insane. Insane.
And look at the next competitor too. The next competitor is so far behind it.
Massively. So like in all ecosystems, Sonic had a delta of year to date of 1.3 billion, but then it just drops off. And yes, we're talking about hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, but to think about it, for Polygon, at least how I'm thinking about it right now, for Polygon to go and do what Ethereum, it needs to 20x its net flow in order to match the year to date, January 1st until now. It has to match the inflow, the net flow, in order to be even comparable, which is insane to me. I'm just leaving it at that. You know, a lot of these. Go ahead.
I was going to say one thing on the Ethereum note too. Like the last 3 months had a net. Can you go back to the 3 month period?
Yeah, happy to.
So let's just compare this here. So the 3 month inflow is total 19.25 billion, $19.25 billion coming into the chain, $12.9 billion coming out for a net inflow of 6.3 billion. If you now go to the year, the net inflow is only 7.4 on the year, which shows that there's momentum building on the chain. There's more coming in recently over the last 3 months. Now, what's the month?
For 1 month?
Yeah.
Let's take a look. Ooh.
So most of the volume, that's interesting.
Most of the volume in the past month, it's been, okay.
The net inflow.
Hang on. I think you're pointing out a very interesting stat. So 1 month, so that'd be 1 month from today, June 2nd to now.
Yep.
All right. So over the past 3 months, 6.3. Year to date, there's been 7.4. All right, so 6.3 and 7.4. I'm writing this down. 7.4 That's YTD. That is 3 month. Looking at just 1 month in the past month. 1M 5.3. That means, how I'm reading that, there has been more inflow in the past month than all of the past 3 months, because if you take the delta of 1 month and 3 months, that's only $1 billion. If you take the delta between 1 month and year to date, that's only 2.1 billion. In 1 month, there's been $5.3 billion worth of inflow into ETH.
It's a
That's insane.
2.5x increase on the last 9 months, or I guess it would be 11 months in 1 month. So now, out of curiosity, now this is interesting too, because if you go back to the month for a second, I want to go to the 7 days. I really want us to granulize. Granulize. I don't know if that's a word. No idea.
It is now.
It is now.
You want to go to the granular level, a more
exactly.
granular level.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. That's it. So you go to the 7 day inflow. Look at this. The 7 day inflow, net flow 7 is 1.5 billion. So basically, other than the last month, the last 7 days have had, I guess, of the last year, there's been 7.5 billion net flow, I believe it was. And so this is more than 1/7. This is almost like coming up on like a fifth or a sixth of the entire net flow of the year has happened in the last 7 days. So you can see here, if we go, so year, there's a point here. 3 months, there's a point a little higher. And then month to date, the point jumps. So we're kind of doing a curve like this on net inflows right now. You're seeing that too, right? I'm not just making that up. That's crazy.
Nope, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it too.
And what's interesting is the outflows on base have spiked.
That I find that fascinating, only from the standpoint of how base has been and also has been marketed / advertised of lower, cheaper fees, faster, all these things for an L2. And you look at the inflow on base, 94 million, outflow on base, almost, let's see, why isn't it showing? Almost 1 point, and granted, this is the 7 day. So 7 day ETH, 2 billion in base, 3/4 of that out. Yes.
Wow.
Where are they going? We'd have to look. That requires a little more digging, but you could a theory, a hypothesis could be they're all leaving. Everyone's jumping into Ethereum. Maybe, but at least the inflow, what the data is showing us is that, exactly to your point, what you said is there is this curve that's starting to amp up and build up what it appears to be into ETH. And it's it's slowly going into ETH. Anyway.
I would love to know where those transactions are going. Like, are they going to Coinbase, or are they backflowing into ETH?
Oh,
that's a cool. Okay.
This is the first time I'm looking at this.
So this is all the flow into ETH.
Okay, let's look at net flow. Okay. Oh, all right. And then it breaks. Okay, that's a 7 day period. Let's just do the 1 month, because that was the biggest inflow.
Yeah, it's base is flowing into ETH.
Fascinating.
So maybe that's a product of Coinbase and its popularity. I don't know. I'm speculating completely here. I have no clue on that front.
We both are. We're trying to make sense of it.
I have to look at the data, look at the chain for that kind of thing. But that's fascinating. Okay, so Base is a major contributor so far to the net inflows, but 5.1 billion, that's the last month. So a lot of economic energy is flowing from Base to ETH.
That's what the data's showing.
Wow, that's actually really interesting. But that also, that implies something interesting in terms of I would love to see net inflows for Base, only
Sure.
because I know we've had this mission of like going to Base.
Yep.
You
Let's
know,
take a look.
which that's an interesting story to look at. It's like, okay, inflows are 560 million.
Let's
ETH
look
is
at
385.
So this is Base over the past month. All these little chains. Was it?
Yeah, they're flowing in.
So our abstract, what? Sui, which I know is heavily promoted by a lot of VCs. Who's the Unichain? Is that the OpenAI?
It's
No,
Uniswaps.
that's Uniswap.
Yep.
I'm thinking of Unicoin.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one actually.
Unichain is the biggest flow into Base.
It's pretty minimal still, with only 8.3 million considering all things.
But it is just, it decided, you know what? I'm going 99.5% of the flow of how I'm interpreting this number right here. Base to ETH, 99.51% has flown from of what was on Base for in the month has flown from Base to ETH.
That's fascinating.
Interesting.
There's something else in there, I'm sure. It's like, well, how, like, what is going on is there's something, because I wonder if you add up those numbers, like if you just look at, like if you just hover over the Base, the net flows, like looking at those numbers is like, how do you arrive at 5.1 billion with that number? So the inflows, so it's basically, it's either people leaving Base, or it makes me wonder if people are somehow like arriving or starting with Base, whether it's Coinbase or something like that, and flowing over to Ethereum. I don't know if when people are buying ETH on Coinbase, if I don't know. I have a whole lot of theories, but they're all theories, right?
Yeah.
So that's interesting to look at, because that's a lot of economic energy moving into ETH when it doesn't show an inflow to Base.
This is the entire period that Base has been around. Oh, snap. Base has had, how I'm interpreting this chart, the entire period that Base has been operational, launched in production, it has had a negative net flow of $2.5 billion.
That's interesting.
And ETH has had the majority flow in of 87 and just over 1/3% of all the flow out of Base since launch has gone to ETH. So how I'm interpreting is how I'm hypothesizing thinking about this is, you have, whether you buy on Coinbase, Kraken, wherever, and then let's say you wire, I'm thinking of this flow. You buy on one of those main exchanges, and then you get your own wallet, and then you either bridge over, but also the consideration of what I don't know, the granular, and to your point of, usually on exchanges, they already buy up some of the supply. So if I'm just switching from Base to ETH or ETH to Unichain, is that reflected in this? I don't know.
Well, when you say it like that, I feel like it actually wouldn't be, because they're just holding it in their wallets and they're just crediting you on your account, right? So that wouldn't have a flow. That should just be static, of just like, okay, we have these assets in wallets, and you're like, they put your name on a sticker with your name on it on that ETH. Or like over here, okay, they have some ETH in this wallet. Okay, they have some ETH on this chain. They've got some USDC. So that shouldn't. So that's fascinating. I mean, at least the net flow is majority into ETH, keeping the flow or the economic energy that is technically on the total infrastructure of ETH is staying on ETH, you know?
Yeah.
Fascinating, though. This is a cool site.
Flowing. And there are even chains I've never heard of. Doge chain? I just didn't know how to chain. I'm going to do a net flow of ETH over the entire period. Okay. I don't know.
I need to take some time to really interpret this, but this is interesting.
Yeah. I don't want to go any further. That was
the rabbit hole we were talking about.
There's the
tinfoil hat stuff.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, I know I've seen this talked about a little bit, is that the stablecoin supply, it is continually going up. It's getting more and more and more. And that's, it's reflected in the data. Net chain.
Link in the private chat for stablecoin chart.
Yeah.
I think I like this one. It's a little easier to interpret than this one. It's got a pie chart and everything on it. Do you use it's DeFi Llama? Have you heard of DeFi Llama?
Yes.
I found it hard to get to this one. I had it bookmarked, luckily, but oh yeah, I have the link in the private chat too.
Thank you. Here, you bring it up. For whatever reason, I'm struggling right now.
Okay. Let me go here. Let's see.
Finally found it, but
all right. Can you see this?
Yes. Let's add. There we go. Okay.
So right now there's $252 billion in stablecoins total market cap, and ETH is currently. Let me just refresh this just to make sure, because it's a lot of inflow in the last 24 hours. So ETH actually went up a small percentage. This is now over 50% market dominance for Ethereum in stablecoins.
Ooh, okay.
This is an indicator I've been waiting for a while. And actually, when we get to the cheat sheet, what you'll see is the link for this pie chart indicating when we get from 50 to 60%, that indicates massive bullish momentum moving towards Ethereum. So
okay,
this is cool. I've been waiting for 50% for quite a while, and we've been in the 40s. We were actually, I think, 45% for many months, and finally we're at 50% for the first time. And that, what does
that signal? Explain that a little further, because it sounds important, seems like an important metric, but I don't know it. So if you don't mind.
Of course. Well, what I'll say too is I'm always understanding this deeper as well. My current understanding of it so far is that stable coins are signals that people or stablecoin availability is liquidity able to be injected into the market, right? And where liquidity is flowing signals which chain people are potentially willing to move that money into things on. So as Ethereum dominance, meaning Ethereum takes the market share for the most stable coins on chain, it's signaling to me that people are moving the economic energy that they want to then inject potentially into a system onto Ethereum, which is bullish for Ethereum because people have more faith in Ethereum or desire to participate or hold funds on Ethereum goes up, which is the network effect, right? So to me, there's many things that this signals, but it's a confidence thing in a nutshell, right? It's like people are saying, okay, yeah, I want to be on this chain. I want to play on this chain. I want to play on this chain.
That helps. And so it's very much the more confident you are, the more you want, you're bullish and you have belief, and it's kind of putting money where your mouth is. And so that's how I'm interpreting it. That's how I understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. So I think this one's a really cool one. There's another one actually. Let me see if I can find the GitHub link here. I found this one a while back. Again, this is on that cheat sheet that I mentioned as well.
Yeah.
But this one is interesting. So this is a GitHub repository, or not. Or this is the GitHub commits for Ethereum. So what you can see here, like where is the? This is over the last number of months. What you can see here on the GitHub commits. Now, the reason why this is important to watch is as the average climbs closer to 30, and the 30 is the reason for 30 is just for a benchmark of like things are cooking. People are like if people are doing 30 commits a day, that's like 1,000 commits a month, and that's quite a bit. And typically has shown, I guess you could say, has been like a benchmark of usage that then later turns into price performance for Ethereum. So now what we're seeing is, if we look at if we could draw a line through this as an average, the average over the last, let's say from last year in July to December, you'd say probably around 10, 12, maybe 13, right?
Yep.
But as we move into this year and we move past, if we were to exclude January, because January is kind of a slow one, well, even January is not. After the second week, it starts to tick up. But now all of a sudden, it looks like the average has almost doubled. We're like getting close to 20 as the average, if not higher. Like and recently we had 42 commits in June. In the week of June 15th, we had another 40 commits in March, and so there's an uptick here. And so to me, this is another indicator of people are building on Ethereum. There's more activity being built on Ethereum. So you have stable coins flowing in, right? You have the dominance of Ethereum going up massively. You also have the commits going up over the last 6 months for Ethereum as well. And we don't even have the data we have the data for the end of June, but we don't have anything here for what will be the beginning of July yet. And we've seen a lot of net inflows coming in the past 7 days. So, I mean, this could be this could be the start of some serious momentum that's been brewing in the background, and why, we've been talking about ad nauseum why ETH is it's cooking, it's building that pressure in the background, right? So,
how far back on can you go? Obviously, that's the public ETH GitHub. Is it only a year that you can go back? Can you go are you able to go any further? If not, that's fine. I was just curious. I didn't know if there was a drop down tab or something you're able to take a peek.
I think it's only let me see if I can do
because what I'm thinking, and while you're looking up, for everyone watching, what I'm thinking about is, so in past cycles that we've seen, and even around times when there were, like the last update back in May, it was May, yeah, it was May. The recent major ETH upgrade is, what are the commits like around major upgrade times compared to cycle highs, compared to not necessarily since the beginning. Compared to since the beginning. That's where my head is going for everybody in the back, for everyone watching, and appreciate y'all tuning in.
Yeah, I can't find any commit charts.
All
Uh,
good. If it was easy to get to, easy to take a peek, I'm all good. I'm not too worried. While you're taking a peek, I do want to show one chart I found fascinating, and I'm going to swap it here. This is the DEX volume. Let me go year to date, and I want to increase it. So this is the year to date of all the DEX volume, and the largest one right here is Pancake Swap, and has been the largest one since looks like the beginning of May. It has just completely taken over volume. But we can also take a what also this tells me. I want to be able. I wonder if I can. We'll go to TVL next.
mhm.
If I can just specifically select ETH dexes. Don't believe so. And let me do 3 year just to give a bigger time period. Give it a second to load.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
sure
no,
it's a lot of data.
I'm bet it is. Okay. So this was last year. There were, and I know that I don't want to break the website and go 5 years, but during what I've noticed here is that during each, when it's last year, at the end of, let's see, third, fourth quarter last year, is there was a dominant DEX and then everything quiets down. Now it's looking like Pancake Swap is the dominant DEX now. Maybe it will be the dominant DEX going into this bull run towards the end of the year, if we get one. Because right now its volume is just since, we'll say, since middle of May. It was Uniswap for a while and Radium, but Pancake Swap, I don't know if they released some update or if they pushed something new or if marketing improved or whatever it may be. But it's been doing relatively almost double digit, if not double digit in volume for the past almost 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all right here, like I was talking about in third and fourth quarter. I mean, this volume right here for Radium and Uniswap, single digit billions. Yes, billions of dollars, but nonetheless, that's a lot of stinking movement and a lot of freaking money. Let me get rid of that. That's driving me insane. I wish, too bad I don't have some kind of laser pointer and it would reflect while I'm sharing the screen. But you just look at this and everything's just stagnant. And then it's increased. And what I see towards the end of this graph from that, November-ish tick to now is it's looking like volume minus maybe that one or two couple days tick is similar to what it was last year. And it's only building, if not more. If I'm looking at looking at the tops here
Mm-hmm.
are taller than the tops all around here minus a few spikes.
You can almost draw a line from April 24 or March 24 straight through the top peak to the next peak to the next peak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you
Yep.
almost, it's not perfect, but like you
No.
can see there's this like linear-ish kind of growth that seems to be happening on that for those spikes, which what do you make of that?
Everyone just wants the chart that goes up and to the right.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, it's a simple way to put it, really.
Just an interesting data point. Let's see. There was another one I wanted. Okay.
Also, thanks for the repost there, DeFi DJ, and shout out to you, man. Thanks for being here.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for doing that. Another one I wanted to bring up, TVL. Can I just, I wanted to just select, perpetuals. I wanted to just select, that's RWA. First time, this is the second time I'm using this. I was hoping to, if you see it before I do, I was hoping to just select ETH on this because I caught a tweet that's staked. Let me see if I can find the tweet. And if I can't, then that's my own fault. It was show the TVL for ETH.
Well, this is perpetuals.
Yeah.
Are you looking for perpetuals specifically?
No, I wasn't. Let me go. And here we go. 3 month. Let's go year to date. Total volume.
This looks like TVL.
I mean, we're back. That's just active addresses, transactions, slowly increasing.
And we had a nice spike there to one of the highest transaction days ETH has seen.
Yep.
To like 1.75 million transactions in a single day with this, well, I don't want to say parabolic, but from, you can see the double little bottom thing that's going on there to the top. I think that's a solid increase.
Definitely. Oh yeah. Because one thing I know we've talked about before, and I've at least brought up, I know probably the first or second time we streamed, was how when they're active users yes, everything's been relatively sideways but there tends to be this more parabolic just kind of run up because if I'm thinking about it, it's like, oh, things are moving and then people start jumping in. That's a hypothesis I'm running with. What else did I have? You had tweeted out this, and I was curious. I'm pivoting now, if you're okay with that, unless there's anything.
Let's go. Yeah, of course.
You had tweeted this out, and I wanted to ask you about it because I know it. There's a couple. Bitcoin MVRV Z-score. This was one of your metrics you had put out, like that you like to look at, and you've looked at. Do you mind break this down for me? I've looked at this. What are you looking at specifically when you see this kind of chart, when you see this kind of data?
So without going into the details of like the specifics of the chart, I'm still getting better at explaining it. But what I look for on this is two things. One, shows me very clearly, like if you look on this chart, it's a bottom indicator. Like it nails the bottoms. It's pretty good for tops. But what's important here is that when you look at this chart, there's two very important features of it. One is the bottom and that rounding out.
You're talking about right down here?
Yeah, like look at how precise that is.
And they're interesting. They're all different. Like this looks like a 1, 2, 3-ish bottom. Yeah. This kind of looks like a 1 and 2-ish and then up. And this is kind of like a 1 flat line, 2 flat line, and then slowly.
Yeah.
But none of it looks similar.
No, it's just the region, like the zone that the actual data goes to on the scale, which always goes negative, has typically implied a bottom, right, on the Z-score scale. So the other feature that I think is important is the parabolic nature of these charts. You can see typically when the chart is entering into its top region, there's typically a larger parabolic exponential looking move that begins to curve upward on the scale. Now, if you look at the 2021 chart, it's a little weird because obviously that cycle to me was a little bit of an anomaly given the macro conditions and the QT that started to happen at the tail end of 21, which really affected things and kind of stopped this parabolic move from happening that we've seen in previous cycle tops. So in this, the one feature that's consistent, there's two features that are consistent on this chart. One is the bottom aspect of it where the numbers go to negative, and two is the parabolic moves that begin to curve upwards. And what's striking to me about where we are now is we haven't seen the parabolic move yet on this chart.
No.
We've just been going linear, almost in a channel up. Very reminiscent to the 2017 top, more so than anything else, right? If you look at the 2017, it's like
very good point.
It looks like a enlarged fractal.
Yep.
To some degree, right? It's almost like someone just took the numbers and just made them less granular, right? Expanded that chart and move it and made it move up in the same channel. So, I mean, and this indicator too, you can use it for ETH. There's a link to this in ETH as well. And on April 15th, I made a tweet that was saying now is a good time to start buying or stacking ETH and Titan X. And I made that tweet specifically on that day because I was looking at the MVRV chart for ETH.
Okay, let's see. Is there an easy way to bring this up in ETH?
I think I can bring it up on my end, though I don't know I can bring it up on I think it's behind a paywall, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where I was going to go, one thing I noticed. Okay, so since we can't, no problem. We'll just work with Bitcoin. What I've noticed,
I can bring it up on Glassnode.
Oh yeah, while you're getting that website ready, there's one, if you don't mind, I'm going to bring up one. I just want to make one. It might be two comments. So
please,
comment about this run up. I mean, this took from we'll say from ish here. It took, oh my, this is 2 cycles ago. If we're comparing it to, if the way this right here is looking like from here, looking like there, it took almost 2.5 years to go from, maybe just over 2.5 years to go from this bottom all the way up. And so the bottom here, I mean, for judging ish, just aggregating an average, we'll say maybe this is the bottom ish, 2.5 years. I mean, that puts us now, but we're not anywhere close. But
go right to the end of that bottom.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, go right to the edge of that bottom where it starts to. We should be right at the end of 2022.
Yeah.
If not right into early into 2023.
Yeah. So 2.5. I mean, that's probably being conservative. Another point, and you touched on this briefly, is last cycle, after it did a bottom, it almost retraced back into that zone, this green zone right here that would indicate, another bottom. It almost did a double bottom. And you could argue, hey, look at that nice little W right there. Here, bring up ETH, because you mentioned your tweet. Let me go ahead and share. You mentioned the ETH on Glassnode. That'd be fascinating. And then you talked about your tweet that you put out. I hadn't looked at that chart before, and I haven't even heard of it, but that's fascinating.
So this is the ETH MVRV chart, and we were right.
Holy
here.
Smokes.
That's April 15th. Or where is it? It's 1589. I made that tweet.
Wow.
And that was because of this chart. I was like, oh my God, this is generational bottom. I found this and it blew my mind. I was like, oh, this is the chart.
Yes.
And you can even see
so different. It's so different. I wonder if this, so I'm looking at from on your chart, I'm looking at, so if you kind of have that January 2018 high, and then it goes down, hits accumulation zone, you could argue, and like
Mm-hmm.
right before that January 19th, then it goes up in July of 2019, back down, flirts above the line, back down
Whoops.
again.
Sorry, one sec.
No, you're good. Yeah, there we go. It also does that W pattern. In trying to think and extrapolate out, if that does anything remotely close, where you have the high in July 21, down, it did a little bump up, it's going down, and then maybe towards the end of this year or next year, I have no idea, but maybe it finishes off that second part of what appears to be a W.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who knows? Not financial advice. Do your own research, have your own convictions, do your own education.
Well, something that there's two things that make me think that this here, there's an interesting setup that I see here. So this top is similar to the Bitcoin top, where it's like, and then try it again, and then we got to the top, right? It was like it tried, got cut off, tried again. So if we were to play the game of, okay, well, what if QT hadn't happened, right? Where could this go? And where could ETH have gone to? Well, let's say it only got to about 5K. Let's say the parabola was somewhere between 8 to 10, right? Then 8 to 10K down to 1,500 is an 80% drop, or down to 2,000 is like an 80% or more drop.
Yeah.
Right. So really, if we're looking at why you have a bottom here and a higher low bottom here, this almost makes sense for the valuation of ETH to not drop beyond this point, because it was expected to go up here. The true valuation during that bull should have been around 8 to 10,000, just following this theory, right? And so the 80% drop brings us to 1,500.
Okay.
Or 1,000, I guess it would be 1,200, 1,000, which is a huge drop from that.
Oh yeah.
Even from 5K, that's a huge drop. But it explains why we didn't drop further, right? And so now we have this double bottom. We have this same. It's almost like a fractal. Look at this: bottom, bottom, upward momentum,
Boom.
Downward momentum, a little bump. We go down again. Look, going down, a bump. We come down. And now we've corrected back up a little bit. So we got to make sure that we're not thinking that correlation is causation.
100%.
But this looks like a pretty generational double bottom here with a higher low.
Yep.
And hard not to be bullish when you look at this chart specifically. And the cool thing is, like, if we were to go back to the Bitcoin MVRV, which I can do here.
Please.
The BTC MVRV shows that we're somewhere in the middle ground here, where like there's room to go, but like BTC's already moved quite a bit, right? Like we're quite a ways from this bottoming region, versus if we go to ETH now, we're not even begun.
No. ETH is still testing the bottom. It's bottom relative to relative to that, what's it called? Hang on, I'm going to get the name of it right. MVRV score.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and if we follow this pattern of, can I go on a theory tangent for a second?
Yeah, no, yeah. It's conversation.
Let's play a game. Play a game here. So, imagine if QT didn't start here. Let's say we had another parabola run here, right? Well, let's say that this tightening that happened in here did not occur. This parabola I mean, you had Tom Lee of, I think it's Bitmine Immersion Technologies.
Yeah, he was
He's
just
come
on
out.
CNBC talking about he just became the CEO, yeah, Bitmine Immersion, and they're trying to have their own like ETH strategic reserve. They're trying to do the Michael Saylor,
Yeah,
but for ETH.
exactly. So he put out 2 calls, one for 60K in the midst of the bull. I think it was actually back here somewhere. He called for 60K. And then as we're getting closer to the top, he called for 100K. So now, why would he call 100K? Well, where could price have gone if tightening didn't come in? 100K
Fair.
maybe could have been in play, right? If we're looking at a parabola, right, 100K leads to here, and then you have a straight line that kind of fits in with your bear market thesis here, right, where it just kind of runs down. This is very loose, of course, right?
Yeah, you
But
could
let's
take that first drop, like the first top, and where the line goes down a bit, you can tell that people like, heck no, we wanted this to go higher. And so
yep.
if you were to take that and just flip it over to the other side, the argument could be made that 100K what could have been, we don't know. Well, the history's been written, but yeah.
So in that case, though, what we could be doing right now, if we play that 100K game, right, where BTC's actual top should have been around 100K, right now, we're about to break out to actual all-time highs. And so what that means, though, is that while people are saying 100K is all-time high, this actually, in theory, could have been testing finally the all-time high, meaning that people could be undervaluing BTC versus where it should go next.
Yep.
Right? If it went to 17K to 100K, that's over a 5x, right? So if all-time highs are above 100K and it's going to break the all-time high, remember with this theory,
Yep.
even if we cut that in half to 2.5x, that's still 250K Bitcoin.
Yep.
Right? And if it does more than that because institutional money is in, this could be really interesting. It could be way higher than 250 if we're playing this game. And it would make sense of why we haven't seen a parabolic move yet. And we've been seeing this like static channel going up the BTC MVRV score.
100%. 1 million Bitcoin for 2025.
Well, you know what's crazy? That's Tom Lee is thinking he's calling for $3 million Bitcoin. He says $250,000 Bitcoin by the end of 2025, and he says $3 million Bitcoin is down the line as well. So
we'll see.
No idea. Those are fun numbers to throw out there. But anyways, that's my tangent on what could have been, what might be.
No, it's a fair because you have to, I mean, and it's a fair comment to make. With quantitative tightening, liquidity goes down. People don't have much money to spend, but one potential thought is and comment is people just weren't satisfied. So like, no, okay, yes, we have the top, but we're not done yet. That's not what we wanted. That's not what happened the previous cycle. We're not done yet. We're not going to but also given that time, let's see, that's the first year of COVID. Everything's locked down, depending upon where you are in the world. And people probably, there's a whole host of theories. People just got too antsy and buggy, like, nope, I want some excitement. I can't go anywhere, can't do anything. I have to order groceries, I have to order food, I have to order everything online. And so let's get something to ramp this up and go. I was going to say hog wild.
That's a fun word.
Another one I want at, so Pi Cycle.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Break that down for me.
So let me bring it up because it's a fun one to look at. Where are you? Let's do the Pi Cycle top.
I do have it in case you're still looking.
I got it right here.
Okay.
Let's do this one. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. So the pi cycle is really fascinating. It's two moving averages that
Okay.
typically shown pretty deadly where a top is. Now,
Hmm.
there's one exception in this chart, which is right here, where the lines crossed and then it went up again. So
Fascinating.
that being said, though, the last two cycles have shown that a top comes in when these two lines cross. What are these two lines? They're two different moving averages. The purple one is the 350-day moving average time 2. So it's basically a 700-day moving average, right?
What is a
The
moving average? I'm going to
moving average is the average price over the last X number of days.
Okay, so 200 move average is the average price over the past 200 days. 100. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly. Yeah, no problem. And then the second green line is the 111-day moving average. And I like that number. 111 is really cool. But these lines, so if I'm gonna zoom in here for a second and let's take a look at the 2016 cycle here.
Yeah.
So look, boom, line crosses right here. So the intersection happens, top.
Fascinating.
Line intersects. Well, looked like a top.
Or at least it's like they like slightly kissed and then it's like, nope, get away from me.
Yeah, it didn't actually fully cross.
And it didn't, the double top, it didn't even come close.
So this actually, I'm going to say this strengthens potentially my theory.
Yep.
That the last cycle was actually should have been much higher. Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Like it intersected, but it never fully crossed. It's like the puck never went all the way across the line. As long as it's touching the line, it's not in.
If you do this for me, expand, leave at on the right side, April, August, whatever, 22. On the left side, expand that out to even further. Because one thing I'm looking at, and green is the 300 day.
The 111. No, that's why it's more
the
volatile.
111. What I noticed is the distance between the BTC price and the 111-day moving average looks tightly correlated. But maybe to add to your thesis, where the 350 and 111-day kiss, there's a significant gap. Almost like, all right, that wasn't what was supposed to happen. Because I'm just looking at this, and usually the green and the Bitcoin price run tightly together, or at least through it, minus when it went parabolic in 21. Just comment observations I'm noticing about the trends.
Well, break that down a little more, because I didn't completely follow that.
Sure. So if you look at the Bitcoin price and the 111-day line,
yeah,
one of the patterns I like looking at is for that line and the Bitcoin price, what's the distance between the two? I'm less concerned for me right now about the 350-day, and I'm just noticing how, and it almost looks like that green line in the Bitcoin price, the 111-day almost looks like the spine of the Bitcoin price. Almost.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. It's like a median of the above when the price goes above or below it, but it's always in a threshold there, right?
Yeah, whatever that. I'm thinking like Z score, and what's the how many standard deviations away from the price is it? And it looks pretty. Normally, you see minus that parabolic run. It's almost like maybe up to what appears to be 2 standard deviations, one or two, depending upon which side. But it always seems to be the spine, except for where it did the double top. After that first top, quantitative tightening, it looks like there's a significant gap, almost like that's not what was supposed to happen.
I see what you're saying.
Otherwise, looking is So on that parabolic run up on the first, it looks like it's maybe 1 or 2 standard deviations away, and this is where this z-score would be helpful with this. But it looks like, it appears to me, a theory I'm running with right now is, okay, it's a couple standard deviations away. So was that supposed to have what happened, or did something occur during that time that caused such a such a significant split between the two?
It's an interesting question. Yeah.
Does that help with my explanation, how I'm thinking?
Well, for sure. Yeah, I understand it now. I'm now looking into what you're saying and kind of trying to process that as well. But it kind of adds to this, it looks like it's like it almost on tops. Another thing to add to what you're saying too is the momentum typically like goes one way and then goes the other. It's usually never a sine wave.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a perfect sine wave.
Yep.
Which, I mean, there isn't another one really on that seems like indecision, or like a conflicting momentum.
Definitely.
Really, where you have an amplitude and a trough that have equal momentum and they're kind of just like flowing with one another. So maybe we were supposed to get 100K Bitcoin. Maybe we really were.
Maybe, but we're all humans, and so we all have our own. We go, we're all looking at different things and going, hang on, slow down, and that, as everything, it has ripple effect anywhere we go. Anyway, just something I've noticed, and I was kind of tossing. I was like, huh, that's interesting to me.
It's a cool observation, actually. I'm sure it's there for because I think that was the BTC one. I'm sure it's there for the ETH one as well.
Yeah, I would have to. Do you have it up? Do you happen to have it for ETH by any chance?
I can bring it up for ETH.
Yeah, let's take a peek.
If
you don't mind.
Of course. I think it's the right one. Yep. So ETH looks a little different than BTC.
It really does. Huh.
It still looks a little odd, but also there's less time on this chart. So it's like, hard to, and ETH, as we know, performs and acts and responds to the markets very different than BTC does. And is affected similarly, but not completely the same as BTC. So
it doesn't look like it's really moving any standard deviations away from price on that 100-day. Plus, ETH is almost 10 years old. BTC is almost 20 years old. So you've got a decade worth of more data. That's a lot of information.
It's crazy to think about the BTC's been around for now. Yeah, like 16 years. Going on 17.
Yeah.
Or longer, really, but that's when it was first listed. So, I mean,
back when you could win like 5 BTC on Coinbase.
Oh, dude, yeah. My God. Insane stuff. But here we are. So yeah, the price cycle indicator, just for people that are watching again, this has been pretty damn good for tops, although it's not perfect. You can see that these tops, it really pointed to. But if you always listen to this, you might miss out. So you got to use all these indicators as, multiple viewpoints on an image or on what you're trying to find out. This is angle one saying, okay, top is looking like it's going in, or it's in. So now you want to cross correlate that with the z-score, right? And that would tell you, like, if we go to the z-score right now, so we know, let's play the game with the 17 and the 21 tops here. So 21 top looked like it was in February, pretty clearly, and the 17 top looked like it was in pretty clearly as well. But then there was also a top in the 18. So let's go to the z-score now.
Please.
and we see 17 looked like the top, right? But then we kept going, and we got another little top in 18. So this right here, this movement upward could have showed building momentum again, even though the top showed to be on the pi cycle. This one here is interesting because it does show a little more clearly that this was likely to be the top.
Yep.
And I don't know if I would have trusted this, you know?
No,
So
you can't. The supposed double, the supposed double top out. You could, ooh, man, talk about a difference.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if we look at this too, this is a W with a lower low.
Yep.
I would not have trusted that. And you know what? If you sold up here, I mean, sure, you would have missed out on like a little bit of gains, but you'd have been pretty happy overall.
Yeah.
You know, and even if we go back to this guy here, if you sold here, you'd have been pretty choked, right? This is the wrong one. But if you sold here, right, or took some profits here, you still would have been able to be up quite a bit from this bear.
Yeah.
So all things considered, I think this is two things. One thing is why you cross-reference multiple different indicators, data sets, portions of information, or information sources, and also why you have a strategy of DCAing out in conjunction with taking profits, because I have found a whale that was in I won't even mention the token because I don't even want to point to this person, but what I watched them do over the course of a 2-year period is, let's say this is the bottom and this is the top. They started cashing out here every day. Chunk, 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 chunk. They pulled out over 2 years millions on millions from just chunking away every single day, instead of being like trying to time the top or there's another top and having nothing left when there's having a moon bag. They just chip away at it, and they pulled out well over $10 million.
Good for them.
So that's my soapbox on that, and saying that you can take out a whole lot and you can profit a whole lot by averaging over time versus trying to time the market. Because the thing too is, like, and I'm sure this is kind of obvious, but everyone's trying to do the same thing, right? Everyone's trying to time the top. So if you stop trying to be granular and try and time that, like, one person times the top, right? One person. So the chances of it being you or me or anybody else,
forget it.
I mean, dude, yeah, forget about it. Good luck. So yeah, I think you get what I'm saying here. It's like, just use these indicators to find out where you are in the cycle, and then use that to your advantage to play the game that the crowd is not going to play, and take advantage of the crowd piling in, but not also trying to play the same game as them.
Keep this screen, because I want to toss out this theory that I've put out before.
Okay. Yeah.
No, it's very true. And it goes to your point. All these things they're just data points, piece to a puzzle. As you learn to put them all together, you can start seeing the bigger picture. And it's like, oh, yes, it requires some statistical learning, but we're in the age of the internet and Perplexity, ChatGPT, Grok, Claude. Like, don't do your most in-depth look to that as your number one, but it's a tool to just learn and to understand, okay, so that's what this means, and kind of like just the initial understanding, so then you can form your own. Do this for me on that toggle at the bottom on the left side. Move it all the way over to where it ticks just past July 17. And then the right one, move it all the way to where it's June 21. This is my hypothesis I'm running. Oh, sorry. Yeah. All right. Yeah, perfect. Overall, it looks kind of like a W.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my hypothesis for Titan X. It's going to follow a similar chart pattern to this. That's my theory. I have no idea if it actually is going to happen, but
I mean, we got to bring up the chart now.
this is my theory. Is it true? I have no stinking idea. Yeah, here, you want me to bring it up since it's my theory?
Sure. Yeah, please do.
I'm running with this theory. I might as well be the one to toss this out. So we've
You
got
know
a
what, though?
visual.
I'm looking at the chart and I'm waiting to see it on your end or when you bring it up here. But man,
It's my theory, man. It's my theory. So do we look at the daily? No. Titan X has been out. We're going on almost 2 years. Let's take a look at the week. Oh, I can't. I may have to switch to a because I can't do.
you can do log.
I can do log. All right, where?
Logarithmic, right below regular.
Thank you. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I'm also just saying that looks like there's something going on there that you seem to be onto something with.
Who knows if I'm right? This thing could go. This could plummet, go to zero tomorrow, or this in 10 seconds. I have no stinking idea, but it's a theory I'm running with. And you know the DJ Khaled song, "All I Do Is Win, Win, Win," no matter.
Oh yeah, of course.
I see one W, I see another W, and then the last W. So,
oh my God.
I have no idea. I'm a crazy person.
It's pretty. You know what though? Yeah, like you have 1, 2, 3 with the big W potentially capping it all off. What you could see too, if there was a secondary theory potentially, is that this could be a giant elongated head and shoulders or an inverse head and shoulders where it's you get the left shoulder is the first bottom, the head is down where we are now, but it's also forming a W. We could see a pump, we could see some kind of a correction for the right shoulder, and then sayonara.
Yep, maybe.
There's either way. I like W's. I like inverse head and shoulders.
I wanted to toss that out because we were looking at ETH, and I was like,
no, I like it. It's good. Gotta get bullish, man. I think we're getting to that point where we just gotta start just bull posting, bull talking.
100%.
Perma bowling
100%.
until perma bowling for a season.
I do. We got a little bit more time, but I want to give you. So Taurus, you figured out. You've figured everything out.
Oh yeah.
Tell us more. I'm more curious into the thought process as opposed to like tell us on July 8th at 7:42 p.m. I have no idea when you're going to launch. I legitimately have no idea. But to kind of like, what's your thought process behind picking when you're going to launch, how it came to be, and just all around feelings about the matter?
Yeah. Well, it came down to, I was getting a lot of input,
mm-hmm.
and I was really considering that input. I made the decision preliminarily that, I'm going to, wait till ETH gets the right sentiment.
Sure.
I'm going to wait. We're going to be patient here. And the more I thought about and looked at all the data plus a ton more, had conversations with people and just felt into things. Also, too, one of the big things that played a part into the decision-making was astrologically, like you were talking about in the beginning, how I had spoken about in the Telegram, I had made that point. And, whether you or I want to believe in astrology at all or not, or give it any sort of credibility, what I've noticed, and I can't deny it, is that every time this whole thing called Mercury retrograde happens, right? There's a phase.
I'm bringing that up. Well, you
What
keep talking. I gotta look it up.
Okay. Yep. So every time this happens, this is a time of communication issues, technological issues, all sorts of issues that are not conducive to success for a launch of a product in this space.
Mm.
And the reason I gave it any sort of credence is because I have been noticing over the past year that every time I've noticed a continual pattern of communication issues, community stuff going on, infighting, uh, protocol launches having struggles. It just so happened to coincide with this period. And so I was like, you know what? I don't want to launch during that period. So the question that came up was, okay, this date is like July 17th or something like that
Yeah,
to
I
August
just
13th.
found it. Granted, this is AI summarizing, so grain of salt.
Of
But
course.
there
It's usually
was
okay for accuracy. Like it's usually like gives you the gist of things.
the Old Farmer's Almanac. This is what I'm trusting with at the moment. Mercury retrograde will begin once again on June 17th.
Yep.
These periods of the year. Okay.
So June 17th is when it starts, and it goes to, I believe, around August 13th, 11th, 13th, something like that. And so I, after everything I just said, I was like, you know what? I ain't launching in retrograde. Hell to the no. I'll be superstitious. Call me what you want. I ain't doing it. Nope. So then the question came, okay, do I launch after this period? And I'm like, that's so far away and so much can change.
A
I don't
month
want to
and
like
yeah,
that seems silly to write off an entire period where something could
yeah.
actually be happening. Um, and so I was like, you know what? I don't feel like waiting is a good idea. I don't feel like writing off a month and saying I'm not going to launch during this period and putting it up to chance to that when we're in August that we've either haven't missed the boat. Also, everyone's waiting. Everyone is waiting right now to launch. Like other protocols and Titan X are waiting to launch. Everyone's waiting for that sentiment. So there was kind of a gap that was seemingly forming of, well, no one wants to launch right now. There's not a lot of noise. ETH really does look like it's gearing up. The momentum seems to be building. There's a lot of indicators, a lot of different metrics and political things that are happening that point to ETH gaining some massive momentum and this
Okay.
actually being a good time to launch. So I was like, you know what? I'm feeling the need to just start because the thing is, you can only talk about something that doesn't exist for so long, and it's
Yeah.
only so potent for its own marketing. But what you can do is talk about real data, real ROIs, real numbers when it's in existence. And I
100%.
thrive when there's actual numbers to crunch,
Oh yeah.
charts to create, videos to create on that stuff. And so it came down to, okay, I think it's time to launch. And the moment I came to decide that internally, there was this feeling of relaxation of just like, oh, okay, yeah, I feel like that's the right move. And that's a pattern I've noticed in myself where when I feel like my mind stops going crazy when I've made a decision, that's typically the right decision for me. And so that was a big sign personally. And I think I really just needed to just trust myself. And my gut's been telling me to do this essentially. So
I want to. Can I ask a question? Is this just to add? So I know nothing about Mercury retrograde.
yeah,
Looked at the dates. I would have to do my own like see what has gone on with prices or anything. Have you note? I know I'm bringing it back in everything you just shared. Has there been a time, so like March 14th to April 6th, have you overlaid, have you overlaid that with March to April, July to August, and then the little stint in November? Have you overlaid that with any price charts? And if you spoke on this, I apologize. I went off camera for just a moment, had to speak with my wife. But I wanted to ask that question.
I haven't overlaid it. It's been more watching protocols themselves, engagement, sentiment, issues. It's not always price related. But if we go to like the March to where were we here? March to April of this year, I mean,
Mhm.
price was just going down. So same. November, though, was when a lot of protocols came out and we saw a major decline begin to happen.
Mhm.
So but then you could also say retrograde was happening. I believe retrograde happened same time roughly last year, and this was a time of major price increase for Titan X last year.
Yep.
You know, but I've just seen it time and time again the
Sure.
last few cycles where it's just like, you know what? I don't want to like the way I look at like there are subtle influences I believe that are interconnected in
Sure.
ways that we haven't caught up with in what affects outcomes, what affects events that are not necessarily mainstream, but are very real.
Yeah.
And so to me, based on my experience, this is a very real thing. And so I was like, you know what? I ain't touching that 10-foot pole. We're just going to
Yep.
work around it. I'm okay with turbulence, but I'm not okay with embedding the nature of, you know, what this thing is birthed into turbulence. You know, you don't want to have a baby on an airplane that's dropping 40 feet and rising. Like that's going to be a pretty traumatic birth, right? It's going to stick with that baby for quite a while. So, but I would rather have it before, you know, and then deal with the turbulence if it comes, which maybe it won't. I don't know, but that was my sense with it. And then it's a cool time because retrograde's a time for reflection, listening, you know, not so much of building. And
Okay.
it's cool to, you know, put something out there and then have a time of like, okay, what's going on? Reflect on how people are using it. Reflect on, you know, what's the data showing? What's participation like?
Sure.
I got no idea if that's going to have any sort of impact or relevance to it, but I thought I was like, you know what? That's not so bad to think of it like that.
Yeah.
So that's in more than a few nutshells, the astrological aspect to it.
Okay. No, I appreciate you explaining it. Real quick.
Dude.
It's the dude. Hey man, how you doing?
Yeah, good to see you on here.
That I'll have to give more. I have to look into it more because it's to some degree. I mean, everything has an impact. Everything's kind of interconnected in some way, and so being able to, you know, trying to quantify, like, all right, quantify the things that you can't, and then trying to just pick the right timing. I know I put this in the Taurus chat before, and it's a Rick Rubin quote, and I'm not going to get it right, but it's like the best thing you can do for your project is to launch it and just let it be. You've put it out there, and when you put it out there, it is as complete as it will be. And yeah, I'm looking for whenever that day comes. I'm looking forward to, and I'm excited for you just as someone who's putting something out there. Like I've got a patent to my name, so being able to like have that, you can't take it away. You've launched this you're gonna launch this project. Can't take it away, and so I'm
That's really
excited
cool,
for you,
actually.
man.
I didn't know you had a patent. That's cool.
Yeah, I've got one. I'll share it with you. But yeah, I've got a patent to my name.
That's pretty cool.
And
Okay.
it's once it's out there, you can't take it away. Yes, there's going to be, you're going to learn, you're going to improve and grow, but it's all part of the journey. So,
well, I appreciate that. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to having that as well out there where it's just like, this is my thing. I made this, you know, you can't delete it. It's going to be permanently out there.
Can't take it away.
For better or for worse.
Absolutely. But I'm looking forward to. I appreciate you. I got nothing after that. Is there anything you want to touch on? Anything you want to bring up, talk about, whether Taurus related or not?
Well, one thing I want to say on the Taurus front is for anyone watching, let's see how many people are watching here. That we got 80 on my channel. Now we got a couple hundred, it looks like, that are total views. So
I
far, I
got
don't know if they're actual viewers.
243 right now.
All right, all 243 of you. I put out a tweet or post. I'm gonna always call it a tweet because it's forever embedded in my blood as Twitter. I don't care if it's called X. I'm stuck. I'm gonna be that boomer who's like, when I'm like 50, 60 years old, I'm gonna be that boomer who's just still calling X posts tweets, and everyone's like, "What the hell is wrong with this guy?"
I still say Twitter because that's how we were used to that for like what, a decade, and then it's been 2 years.
It's I can almost see into like how people get into that, and you still call something that's not Twitter anymore Twitter. It's like I kind of get that.
Yeah,
You like something and you become so familiar with. It's like I don't want to call it anything else.
100%.
So, anyways, though,
Go ahead.
I have made a post talking about or saying, hey, you guys want me to release the date, not the date, but the dates of a window when Taurus could launch. Well, go to this tweet. I'm going to put it in the actually just go and what am I going to do here? I'm going to just post it in the comments here.
Go for it.
Wait, I can't.
What?
Okay. I don't know why I can't. That's fine. Go to at cryptographics, spelled exactly as my name is here. Go to my last post on my page and like it, repost it or tweet it, whatever you prefer.
I'm gonna show people right now.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I think you shared it this morning as well, which thank you, sir.
I sure as heck should have. All
There's
right.
right there.
Boom. Done.
Boom.
So, oh my gosh, 943. Oh, come on. That's an easy like. That
I know. People are funny, man.
That's retweet. Oh, 50 comments. All right.
Yep. Get in there. So if you're watching and you haven't done it yet, please go do it. We need 100 likes, 75 retweets, 50 comments. That's
done. I've done my part.
Thank you, sir. We're that much closer now. So when that happens, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to release the window for a 3-day period where Taurus will launch within. And then it's go time. And we're just going to walk towards that date. Taurus will launch and we're off to the races. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe we're finally here.
Yeah. So when, because I'm trying to think about, it's like I've made a couple websites before, and the easiest thing to production is when you go live into production, you just go publish, and then it's up in production. Is that similar with when you launch on Ethereum? Is it just go, or is there like a couple steps you got to do?
Well, I'm pretty sure at this point, the way I've been explained by the guys who are way more code savvy and tech savvy and blockchain savvy than I am, which is why I paid them to do all this, is yes, it's just like more or less like,
okay.
It's steps. Like you got to get everything organized, but essentially it's not so complicated. Like everything's kind of ready. And then you just, the way they told it to me anyways is, yeah, you get the contracts ready. There's some deployment that has to happen, but more or less it's not like insane.
I didn't know if there was and dude says many steps. Fair. As the guy who has launched many projects himself, you would know, man.
I would say so. Yeah. I'm just the guy relaying the info I've been given. So maybe they're being euphemistic to me and not telling me everything and saying like, oh, that's not hard because they've done it a million times.
No.
But for me and you, it might be like trying to work a rocket for the first time, you know, jump in rockets. I don't know. I have no idea.
I didn't know, I didn't know if I imagine there's got to be some compiling, and I get, deployment contracts. I imagine there's got to be steps when you're deploying the contract. Like you got to do certain contracts first before others. And okay, it can be streamlined for someone experienced, such as the dude.
Of course.
But it's many steps. Okay, cool. I appreciate you mentioning that, man.
So yeah, that's cool. It's going to happen real soon here, man. I can't wait.
Cool. I just showed everyone. That is how easy it is. Just a quick like, quick retweet, and then an easy comment. 945 people have seen this.
And we have
we just need 50 people to comment. 50 of that 945, 75 of that 904, and just 100.
One in every 10 people.
Come on.
We have 3.8% or 4% conversion rate from view to click.
Ooh.
Not great.
Not great.
We'll work on that.
Yeah.
It's all good though.
Okay. I think that's a good place to end.
I think so too. Yep.
Cool.
Go follow K-Flow on X. Are you streaming to YouTube as well or just X?
I am on YouTube, but honestly, I'm about to turn off and not do YouTube because I'm looking at like viewers and it is a big fat donut on YouTube.
Really? Hey?
Which doesn't surprise me. I'm more active on X than I am YouTube, and so I'm not offended or hurt at all.
YouTube's a hard place to get views on, I've found. My channel too is like the last couple of videos I posted, they're just like they don't get a lot of views. It's tough out here, man. But
oh yeah,
go follow K-Flow.
Appreciate you, man. Looking forward. Let's get these launch dates so we can know before July 17th.
Yep.
So we can at least get an idea. Otherwise, it'll show up at, who knows, 1:30 in the morning, and everyone here in North America is asleep, but Europe and Asia and Africa is like, we've been waiting.
Well, here's one hint I can give you. It ain't going to be 1:30 in the morning because I'm not getting up at 1:30 in the morning to launch my product when I don't have to. Why would I do that to myself?
Well, that's 1:30 my time. I don't know how many hours back you are, but that could be like,
I guess it's
10:30 your time. So
I don't want to do it in the evening, dude. I want to be able to launch and then I want to be able to stream right away and not be like have a whole day behind me.
That's true. That's true.
I want to be the first thing I do. Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Coffee in hand, whatever else. Let's go.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, thank you. Appreciate you making the time.
Thank you, man, for having me as always.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers, guys.